Individuals had broke into a detached garage at a residence. The homeowner was alerted through his surveillance system, at which point the homeowner came out and confronted the individuals who had entered his garage. The individuals were coming out, and shots were fired by the homeowner, and then they all fled the scene on foot. It was later in the early morning hours that Oakland County Central Dispatch contacted us and advised that they had two subjects near Huron Valley Hospital, one at the hospital, one near the hospital, that had sustained gunshot wounds. Both are 17 years old. One is being treated for injuries, and one has succumbed to his injuries.
What about the other 5? Where are they?
Still investigating. We do have some information. We're following up on all leads right now.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, we got to spend just a few minutes talking about this story I got out of the Detroit area in Oakland County in Michigan of a man who heard something go bump in the middle of the night and came outside with his security system and is now facing charges because he unalived a young teen, a young scholar, some might say, a young, respectable individual who didn't do nothing. We've all heard this story before. We've all heard this narrative, y'all. A blackity black was killed by a whitey white in Michigan. And why do we need to talk about it? Because you got the usual suspects with the usual victims in this area in particular. And people are on high alert for the blackity blacks because y'all be cutting up and y'all don't want to do right. You want to do things like this. Y'all want to break into a man's separate garage, separate storage space, and invade this man's property. You trespassed, you broke, and you entered. And the news reporter saying that this is not the first time, which makes me wonder. Why are y'all going back to this location? What is in there? What is this man up to? What is he doing? What do y'all know about from this particular guy that keeps attracting you? Because, y'all, everybody knows if you want to catch rats, you put out the right bait. If you want to catch flies, you put out the right bait. Well, this man had something in that garage that was interesting to these young people. These young blackity blacks, time and time again, repeatedly, they broke into this man's garage. Storage unit. Looks like there's so much stuff in there that you can't get a car in there. What are you storing, sir? What are you doing, sir? Whatever it is, it's your business and not the business of these blackity blacks. Well, y'all, the story says, as it's being reported, this man heard something go bump in the night and left his home. Now, this is a detached garage, y'all. He's not in the house. Now he left the home. He exited to approach the separate garage unit. He left with a 9mm, and I ain't blaming him for that because I live in a deep blue state and we all got 9mm, bro. I got one right here at my desk as I do this work. Why? Because there's usual suspects out there and there's unusual suspects out there, and you just never know. So do I blame the man for having a 9mm? Absolutely not. But if you live in a deep blue state like I do, you know that there are certain restrictions on law-abiding citizens, bro. I keep mine arm's length away from me at night as I sleep. But you know, when you hear something go bump in the night, you can't just grab it and go guns a-blazing outside. No, homie, you got to sit back, chill, and wait for them to come inside. And if they don't come inside, then good on you. You live to fight another day. Call the police. Let them handle it. You can't just go outside and start busting at the blackity blacks, because then you're going to get all the family members say, my baby didn't do nothing. My cousin didn't do nothing. You're going to get the Congressional Black Caucusoids, the NAACP, Ben Crump, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharptongue, and everybody else going to be on your head. And if you live in a blue state, you may find yourself being charged under laws that you thought were in your favor, but
But we begin tonight with a botched robbery, ending with a homeowner opening fire, leaving a teenager dead and another person injured. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. Thank you for joining us. Now, this all happened overnight in White Lake Township.
Police say 7 young adults were caught trying to break into a detached garage at a home on Mandan Road. What they were after remains unclear, but police say after the homeowner noticed the intrusion, he went after them and opened fire.
7 News Detroit reporter Ruta Olsenaida has more on the commotion from a neighbor, and she's getting an update from police about the suspects still on the run.
Police are still working to put the pieces together of what exactly happened here in White Lake Township near Cedar Island Lake. But it's a strange one because neighbors tell me this is not even the first or second time that this particular home has been targeted, saying violence was bound to break out. And what did you hear?
Shots. Gunshots. 7 of them.
It was a chaotic scene in White Lake Township early Tuesday morning around 1 a.m. Neighbor Brandy S., who did not want to reveal her full last name out of fear of retaliation, heard gunfire and saw multiple young men fleeing on foot, leaving a trail of blood behind. She says her neighbor living here on Mandan Drive has had to deal with multiple break-ins now, and she realized Tuesday it was him shooting at the suspects.
Actually, the house at the corner has already happened 3 times. 4 months ago or so, and then a year and a half and 4 months also then.
What happened?
This is the 3rd break-in at the same place.
And that's exactly what police say happened yet again here on Tuesday.
7 individuals had broke into a detached garage at a residence. The homeowner was alerted through his surveillance system, at which point the homeowner came out and confronted the individuals.
At least 2 people were hit, both 17 years old. One made it to Huron Valley Hospital and is recovering. The other died on Halfpenny Court in neighboring Commerce Township. Another teen was taken into custody and released, and 1 adult remains in custody, leaving 3 unaccounted for.
I hope you all get caught. And I hope that the injury hurts for a while.
The Oakland County Prosecutor's Office has been sent the evidence to review charges for the suspects in custody and possibly the homeowner as well.
You do have the right to protect your life. And I just hope that it doesn't come to that. Obviously, we want to be a safe community.
Now, this is the problem, y'all, when you live in deep blue states like mine out here on the left coast. You have a right to own a firearm. Yes, you do. You have a right to protect yourself with that firearm if you feel like your life is in imminent danger. You also have the right to go out and investigate something in your yard when something goes bump in the night. But these deep blue state prosecutors are going to come for you if you leave your home, leave your residence, go outside to check on a strange sound, and end up blowing at young people in the back that are fleeing from your inquiry. Just the way it is. That's why people who are proud Americans, people who believe in the Constitution and believe in their right to protect themselves and the Second Amendment, well, you might want to get out of these blue states because the odds are stacked against you. Not saying you got to move to a stand your ground state, but you don't want to be in a state like mine that requires you to retreat even in your own residence. That's right, y'all. If you blow them down in your living room, you're still going to get charged in my state. It's the way things work. So here we have this man who thought he was doing the right thing. We don't know what he saw. We don't know what he heard. We don't know what his testimony is. He's lawyered up now, and he's going to be in a fight for his life against these left-wing liberal DAs and politicians who are going to apply pressure on him. But what we do know is that he unalived one and injured another. They say it could have been up to 7 who were running out of his garage. Why does it take 7? What are y'all looking for? What do you think this man has in there that is of value to you and your low life?
The prosecutor says Dayton Napton shot a 17-year-old who was trying to steal items from his garage. Let's get out to Erica Erickson. She's live tonight with the latest details in this case. Erica, the prosecutor says Napton crossed a line here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different sides we're hearing. We're hearing from the prosecutor's office, that man's defense attorney, and the family of that teen who was shot and killed, and they're upset.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it hurts a lot.
4 months after 17-year-old Savon Wilson of Pontiac shot and killed in White Lake Township. His family says the charges have them confused.
I think the way they went about it, it could have been done better.
24-year-old Dayton Napton charged with manslaughter, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, and 2 counts of felony firearm for the death of Wilson and shooting another teen in the leg. Wilson's family says they want Napton charged with murder.
It doesn't make sense that it wasn't done out of malice, and for them to charge him with manslaughter when everything in the report is suggesting that it was malicious intent.
Wow. Stuff like this is so frustrating. It really is. Because you always have these situations where these young scholars end up losing their lives because of the stupid decisions that they make. In this case, these young scholars decided to break into this man's home multiple times. Okay, allegedly. Okay, break into this man's home multiple times. And the last time they tried it, they found out, right? They found out. And one of these young scholars ended up losing his life. Now, the family, instead of, I don't know, being upset with the fact that one of their family members, this teenager, repeatedly tried to break into this man's home, or put it this way, this man's home was subject to repeated break-ins, instead of being mad that this teenager put himself in a situation for this to happen, you're mad at the guy who was defending his home. And it just so happens that the teenager ended up getting shot. Now, again, this is the same pattern over and over and over again. They're going to come out, boo-hoo, whine, and cry victimhood. Oh, he was, an A student. He was going to be an engineer, an astronaut, a nuclear scientist, right? We know how these people operate. Anytime this happens, it's never an accountability. It's always somebody else's fault. That their son, their brother, right, their family member ended up in this situation.
July, prosecutors say Wilson, along with 6 others, broke into Napton's detached garage. Napton coming out with a 9mm. Prosecutors say firing 2 shots through a windowless, locked garage door. Then, as the group ran away, prosecutors say Napton shot at them 5 more times, ran back inside, reloaded his gun, and came back outside.
Devon was running away and got shot. I never heard anything about him getting shot in the garage.
But prosecutors say Wilson hit and killed from a bullet fired through the locked door.
We had a really close connection. So it hurts a lot. I would have never expected this to happen to him. He has so many dreams and aspirations.
Back out here live, the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office says the rights to own firearms and protect one's family and home are fundamental. Those important rights also come with profound responsibility. We believe the evidence demonstrates this defendant crossed the line by firing outside his home at fleeing persons. Now, meanwhile, I just got off the phone with Napton's defense attorney. He says Napton was startled, and this case is one of, quote, stone self-defense, and he believes Napton should have never been charged. We have many more details at clickondetroit.com. Reporting live, Erica Erickson, Local 4.
Y'all let me know what you think about this one in the comments, because this is a complicated case, but we see these cases all the time in my state where people are simply trying to defend themselves from the lawbreakers that are allowed to run amok in this state, all the weapons that y'all enjoy in those other states. Thank God for your freedom. You got all the fun toys that we can't have. So we are left to defend ourselves by any means necessary. Heard somebody say once, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Well, that's what you're going to get. Judgment by 12. That's what this proud American is facing. Simply trying to defend his own property. This is the dangerous time we live in, and that's why you need to support politicians who support the Constitution, y'all. Because in some of these left cities, some of these sanctuary cities, some of these sanctuary states like mine, we're up against it. And even when you do right, you find yourself accused of doing wrong. Let me know in the comments, y'all. I'd love to know your thoughts on this and the things that this man is facing. Is it like this in your state? Would you move to a state like mine, or are you happy where you are? Let me know down below. And don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to the channel and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.